right, everybody, welcome back to another high-caliber, action-packed episode here of the Crypto 101 podcast. I am your co-host, Bryce, as always, joined by my friend from the other side of the coast, Mr. Brendan Veeman. How you doing, man? Are you guys cleaning up that state of Florida of yours?
We're cleaning it up. We're cleaning up the crypto markets. Man, it's a fantastic day. How could you not be having a fantastic day when you have an interview like this one?
Yeah, I'm excited for this. This is whoever set this one up, TiVo, if you're listening, the producer in the back. This is a true treat and a true pleasure. We are joined by Jason Urban, who's Galaxy's global head of trading. We're going to dive into a ton of cool stuff. But first, Jason, welcome to the Crypto 101 podcast. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, man, we're excited to dive in. You've got a crazy career. You run one of the largest desks right now trading crypto in the world. So if we just back out or back up and zoom out, walk us through a little bit about your career path and how you ended up at Galaxy. I know you also ran some volatility strategies at Goldman Sachs. Tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, absolutely. So out of college, I like most people you figure out where you want to go in life. And I really had an affinity for trading, specifically options trading, wanted to learn more, was fortunate enough to get a position at Goldman, spent a decade at Goldman, ultimately at the end running the index volatility flow business. So that just means options on S&P and things of that nature. And there's some ARBs and some trades that were structural and quite lucrative at the time. In 2009, there was a lot of talk about TARP money, bonuses being clawed back. And I kind of looked at it and said, so if I make a lot of money in 2009, the government's going to get it. And if I lose a lot of money, you're going to think that I stink and you're going to fire me. I'm smart enough to know that looks an awful lot like heads you win, tails I lose. And about that time, Don had approached me, DRW. They were getting into the equities business, had never done that before, and was able to make the move from Goldman to DRW. And then while at DRW, not only was I trading vol and doing those things, but I started a handful of businesses. And one of them that I started outside of the company was a crypto lending business, drawbridge lending. And it was the early days of crypto. I say early. It was 2017. Late 17, early 18 into that ramp up. And Galaxy was one of my original seed investors. And so Galaxy invested in us and BlockFi in their lending sleeve. At the time, Novo had come in and picked our two businesses. And as my business kind of hockey sticked in March of 2020, because we were embedding puts in our loans and we were doing some more structured products than pure lending, our clients did really well. They were obviously very happy. The business took off. And Mike at the time was like, hey, we really need to have you inside the four walls of Galaxy, not outside the four walls of Galaxy as a client. And I said, that's great, but I'd like to run something. I didn't start my own firm to go back to having a boss. He said, well, you can run the trading business. And so that was how I came over to get in there. Now, how I got exposed to crypto, though, another one of the businesses that I started at DRW was a cattle business. And we were running 50,000 head of cattle. And it was really more of a math problem than anything else. 6 pounds of corn costs 72 cents. 1 pound of beef trades at $1.29. It takes 6 pounds of corn to make 1 pound of beef. Figure out the cattle crush and you can start. It's all a trade. Wow. And so, Matt, we decided, my partner who was running the business with me, we decided to have a dinner for the other trading heads from DRW at the time. This is when Cumberland was not even really a thing yet. And we're at the dinner, and one of the guys who's a very well known name in crypto is sitting across the table from me, and I'm having a conversation with some trader to my right. And the guy across the table, I hear him say, yeah, I just bought 200,000 ETH for a quarter. Now, you're at a dinner with 12 traders. Somebody says they bought anything or sold anything, like it's like the record scratches, and then and I turn and I say, hey, you bought what? 200,000 what? And he said, I bought 200,000 Ether. Now, I'm a commodities guy as well, and I'm saying to myself, Ether, like the gas, like, are you a dentist? Like, what are you talking about? I said, no,
what's going on?
And I was like, Ethereum. I was like, oh, that's that crazy internet money of yours. And I went back to the conversation. But that night I went home, and because I'm old, in the early days of the internet, I never really thought that the internet was, I made the mistake of saying, yeah, this is great for email and some websites, but it was never going to be. Now I come home every day and it's like Indiana Jones cutting through the boxes of, Amazon left on my front porch. And so, I made that mistake back then, being closed-minded and myopic in my view. And that night I went home after that dinner and I said, I really got to learn about this. And so that was how and I said, I can identify with this. I understand what this means and why it's important. And that was kind of the start. And I became crypto curious, and then obviously started the lending business that led to Drawbridge, which has now led to Galaxy.
Wow, there's so many things to unpack there, and my mind goes many different directions. One, kudos to you for being kind of at the top of the food pyramid, and really actually still being open to new ideas, and not being kind of cast in stone and saying, oh, well, it's just a new thing. And, you learned your lesson from the internet and you're like, it's not going to happen again. So I think that's really cool that you it's never too late to keep taking risks and keep pushing the boundaries, but
you have to.
Yeah.
It's especially this industry that we're in. It's still so nascent. Right, like it's an early solar system. Not to play on the galaxy, theme here, but there are planets that are forming, that are things that are happening. But it doesn't mean it's set in stone. It doesn't mean there's not more opportunity for the latest and greatest or the new things that might actually, revolutionize finance further than what we already think. Because it's just boundless.
Yeah. So I also want to touch on one thing. March 2020. I was there. I remember it vividly. And it sounds like you kind of won quite a bit during that collapse. I remember Bitcoin, I woke up and it was down 50% in a day. And they were talking about, bringing interest rates down to zero and the whole market was crashing. But it sounds like you layered in some puts into some strategies that paid off big. So could you kind of tell us about that, that caught the eye of Mike Novogratz and kind of ended up with your new gig?
Yeah, so the structure, if you think back to I'll say 2017, 2018, the lending rates on cash against secured by crypto were astronomical, and it was because it was a volatile asset class. And me being a markets guy, I was looking at it and saying, how do you lend money against an asset that can be cut in half in one day at anything that's a respectable LTV or anything that's a respectable interest rate, right? Yeah. It's really hard. And so as I was working through that, one of the things that popped up for me was, hey, if we could embed a put at the LTV. So if Bitcoin, and I'll use the example because it's, let's say Bitcoin's trading 100,000 and you want to borrow $80,000 against your Bitcoin. I'd say, okay, let me buy the 80,000 put and I'll lend you $80,000. So now if it goes to zero, I'm protected. And in order to pay for all of that, because it's expensive, I'm going to sell a call. So I'm just collaring up the Bitcoin. I'm going to sell a call, and the premium that I collect is going to pay the interest rate as well as the put. And that whole structure, I can lend you money at zero now. And so you're protected. Now, the downside is you lose your coin to the upside. But for miners or people that had desires to sell anyway, this was a structure that made a lot of sense. So they were able to borrow money at zero, not have to take a capital gain on their Bitcoin, and by selling it, and all they did was lose the upside if Bitcoin went to 120K in this example. So it was a business that made sense for a segment of the market, and it really performed well in March of 2020.
Wow, that's awesome.
Have you ever wanted to trade Bitcoin but haven't dared tried? With Plus 500 Futures, you can trade crypto without the hassle of opening a wallet. With just a few clicks, you can register and start practicing with their free and unlimited demo. See a trading opportunity? You'll be able to trade in just 2 clicks. Feel ready? You can move to real money with as little as $100 once your account is approved. And the great thing is that in addition to crypto, Plus 500 gives you access to a wide range of instruments like the S&P 500, NASDAQ, gas, and much more. Explore equity indices like energy, metals, Forex, and beyond. With a simple and intuitive platform, you can trade anytime, anywhere. Experience the fast, accessible futures trading you've been waiting for with Plus 500. With over 20 years of experience, Plus 500 is your gateway to the markets. Visit us.plus500.com to learn more. Trading in futures involves risk of loss and is not suitable for everyone. Not all applicants will qualify, and this is not